Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel that knows nothing. I am Jim and let's get to it. So today we are doing another read through of one of my terrible stories. There are many, so be prepared. This is actually a story I've had for a very long time. It's one of those stories that I have, I don't think I will ever write, mainly because it is so controversial. I can see it becoming a shitty, Netflix horror thing, because it is, I think part of me is, not, ballsy enough to write it, and also, part of me is just, there's too much, going on in it. Basically, it's, it was a trilogy I was gonna write about these three, haunted manors. So there was the Watson Manor murders, which was the first one. And it was going to entail, all these people dying in this one house. And you have no idea why until, later on. And then there are two other manors. So there's the Watsons, the Bells, and the Collins. And, it's, all the freaking manors are in a triangle. That's not why they are cursed, though. Basically, I will give you spoilers now because I don't really care. There were four sisters, right? The eldest sister was there's these three men. I want to get with one of them. So there's Mr. Watson, Mr. Bell, and Mr. Collins. I want to get with one of them because then my life will be set up and I will be happy. It's set in the olden days, 1912 or something like that. So it's just I need to get with a man to make my life better. And then the three younger sisters are just lol, let's just do that, and basically beat the older sister. Calypso is her name. And to marry each of the men. And then Calypso gets angry and puts a curse on all the families. Basically anyone who I don't know, with the first, her first eldest sister, she married a Watson, the next one married the Bell, and the last one married the Collins guy. So it goes in the order of that, but each one of them gets cursed in a different way. So in the first one, it was basically their line won't really continue, and if it does, it'll be cursed. Anyway, it's interesting, but not at the same time. But let's get into it. It's pretty short, and then we can talk about more of it at the end if you want. I was here after everything that had happened. The arch gate that had been chained up again, and the neon yellow police tape stood out in the darkness. It was cooler tonight. I pulled my jacket around my body as if it would make me warmer, but nothing could take away the chill that I still had from the events weeks ago. "Do not cross private property," read the old weathered sign. Watson Manor had haunted me more than any other person in the town of Hollowsdale. I kicked the dirt, sending it flying towards the gate. The pebbles made a pinging sound as they came into contact with it. Words getting mad at me because that's too many words. I let out a frustrated shout. "Teddy, enough!" hisses the familiar voice of my father. "Enough? Are you kidding me?" I snap. Looking up at the older man, he grabs me by the shoulder and pulls me away from the manor. I struggle but manage to get out of his tight grip, the pebbles shifting underfoot, almost making me fall. "Ted, you can't be here! Your trial is tomorrow, and this will all look bad on your part." My father sighs as he puts his hand on his beard. I huff and shake my head. "It's okay. We'll work something out, Ted. We always do," my father says as he puts his arm around me. We walk from the manor, and as we do, I turn and have one last look at the place that has taken everything from me. I see her standing in the attic window. Her glowing blue body looks different now than it did nights ago. She was behind all of this. The older girl smirks and waves at me. I knew that what she had done. taken a life, but because she was dead, how could she be accused for murder? If I spoke out about the fact that a ghost had killed him, the town would think I was crazy, and I couldn't have them thinking that. I was Teddy Watson once. But then Samuel and Veronica Dudley adopted me. But when Samuel and Veronica Dudley adopted me, it changed. They couldn't have anyone knowing I was a Watson. Being a Watson meant meant that everyone hated you. The hate had existed for so many years that it was now a piece of history that the townspeople weren't likely to forget, because that history can't be wiped away so easily. Watson Manor was once the home to lords and ladies, but that was in the year 1913. But in the year 1913, there was mass murders. The Hollowsdale residents saw this as a blessing, but really it was a curse that nobody but the Watson, Bell and Collins families knew about. It was locked up tight and hidden away from the world, so nobody knew of the shame that these three families held. The story of the curse was passed from generation to generation, so that each of the family's descendants knew the terrible fate that awaited them. I knew what my fate was. I just hoped my sister knew hers and was ready. Saucy! Right, so explanation time. This, as I said, was a story that I had planned from like a very long time. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to write it, because I only know the first book, kind of. So Teddy was a character who's kind of not really as relevant in the first book, because sadly she dies. Teddy is a girl. Originally it was a guy, but then I'm like, nah, let's go with girl. Like, fuck that. So Teddy and another character called Alice are actually sisters. Everyone in this family has pretty much a very messed up story. Basically, Teddy and Alice were separated at birth, and now, people who aren't Watsons take care of them, because no one can know you're a Watson, or at least in Teddy's case, no one can know that she's a Watson. I actually do have a story of Teddy's. I'm not sure I don't think it's on here, which I can explain more in a second. So Alice is actually raised as a Watson with her younger brother Bradley, who is sadly not a Watson, but you don't find that out until later. He's actually a descendant from one of the Bells. So those two are raised thinking they're siblings, which they're not. They're not even related. The only two families that are related are the Watsons and the Collins, and also the Bells are related as well. I just realizing the stupidity of my own thing. I think it's the three sisters, and then the Bell's not related because the Bell ends up marrying somebody else. Actually, it's the three sisters. So I got confused thinking it was four, but then I'm like, when you forget your own story, love that. So they're not, Alice and Bradley aren't even related. But what happens is every once in a while, things happen at the manor, obviously, and it gets spooky and scary and crazy. So basically everybody it jumps, the perspective I'm thinking is going to be jumping from 1913 to the present day, modern 20th century. I'm not sure. I wrote this back in 2014. Not this excerpt. This was in uni. But the whole idea came about 2014, I think. So basically the premise of the story is Alice and Bradley and their mum, but not their mum, they don't know this though, move into the old manor, which is fun times. Fun times ahead. Basically every single few months there is something called a blood moon, and the ghosts, I say ghosts plural because there are more than one ghost. The only ghost you do see is Rosie. Rosie is a character from 1913 13 who dies. She gets killed. And there is another ghost that is there but not as prominent, who is her cousin, whose name I have forgotten at this point, but she's a really cool character. She's super gay. And is in love with one of the ladies' maids. So the only ghost you see is like Rosie, whereas the other ghost, I'm gonna struggle to remember her name. I think her name's Ebony. Ebony is the name of the cousin. Ebony Collins. Is not as prominent because she refuses to take part in the blood moon. So the blood moon is basically the ghost can kill a human and be more ghosty. Is the essence of it all. And Teddy and this other boy, I can't even remember his name. It's like a tradition in the town to be brave. You can go into the Watson Manor during this time, and if you come out, and if you don't, you don't. But because for so many years nothing has happened, everyone assumes it's fine, and Teddy, being a Watson, can see Rosie. Now, because they're related, if you can see, because you can see the ghost, you can only see a ghost if you're related to the ghost, is basically the premise of my whole thing. But the thing is that there's two different perspectives, because Teddy knows that Rosie is fucking evil, whereas Alice, who moves into the house with her family, has no idea that Rosie's fucking batshit crazy. And is kind of misleading Alice in every single aspect of the story, because Alice finds out about Ebony and Ebony's lover and wants to know more, and Rosie is like, I can tell you more. I can tell you more about the murders during that time. But Rosie's just biding her time because she wants to kill family members during the blood moon. And and that's basically when Alice finds out that Bradley's not related to her, and their mum ends up dying. But the mum does end up dying because of Rosie. There's a lot going on, but basically it's a bit fucked up. This is the most fucked up story that you'll ever get from me, because I don't like horror that much, but I feel like I'm not too bad at writing it. Anyways, I hope you liked it. It's probably a bit weird. That's fine if you unsubscribe. I understand. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, subscribe, because that is always nice, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!